Good afternoon. My name is James Clark, and I'll be doing my speech today on discrimination against those living with HIV. Discrimination is a very common issue in today's society and is reflected in many forms. However, there is a form that strikingly shakes all others, and that is the discrimination of those living with HIV. For those who are unaware, HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus, which is a virus that attacks the immune system, specifically attacking CD4 cells, aka T cells. And those who do not know, your CD4 cells or T cells are cells that help fight off infections within the body. And if these cells are compromised, then it will cause your immune system to become very low and very weak, and it'll make you feel sick, tired, you'll experience fatigue, and you'll just be very, very tired because the immune system is not strong enough to fight off any infection that is coming into the body. Furthermore, I should go on to say this virus is very different amongst any other health condition. You want to know why? Because of stigma. For those who don't know, stigma is a negative view of something and can be protruded as unacceptable, shameful, and a disgrace. HIV has a large stigmatized view attached to it due to early beliefs about the diseases. In earlier times, there was a lack of resources and readily medicines able to help assist with the condition. People viewed HIV as an automatic death sentence, and if you had this condition, you were sick and you were just going to die. People feared this disease and feared the spread of it, so therefore this negative stigma has been attached to it and has followed through all the way until today. However, times have changed thanks to medicine. HIV is much more manageable. Some medicines include PrEP and PEP. PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis, and this is for those who are HIV negative, and they could take this as a preventative measure from contracting the HIV. PEP is post-exposure prophylaxis. Post-exposure prophylaxis is a medicine that can be taken within 72 hours if one believes that they have been exposed or contracted HIV, and it will lower the risk of transmission. As I should go on to say, a positive diagnosis of HIV can lead to a very emotional and distressed life. A diagnosis of HIV can arise many complicated issues compared to other health diagnoses. Stigma and ignorance is what protrudes to discrimination of those living with HIV. And because of this, these people face legal concerns, health access concerns, mental health concerns, social concerns, etc. HIV stigma is a negative connotation of the health condition, and this is due to the ignorance of society and can lead to these individuals being rejected, abused, excluded from social activities, denied health care, and just experience a lot of rough patches in their life. They may feel like they're a burden and they have nothing to live for because of the severe discrimination that they have been facing. HIV persons experience loss of employment, loss of homes, and difficult access to health care. And this is very protruding because these people need to be treated with dignity and respect. This discrimination is only reflected upon ignorance. If people were very more educated on the condition, the stigma will lessen. The stigma will lessen, and discrimination will also lessen. Stigma leads to these people being treated, like I said, without dignity and respect. Because of the lack of knowledge that people in society carry on the condition, they believe that HIV is something that you could just automatically get from doing anything, whether it be sharing the same bathroom, whether it be drinking off the same cup, whether it be going to the same grocery store, etc. And as I should mention, there was a survey conducted in 2009 by the Kaiser Family Foundation, and they found that 1/3 of Americans believe that HIV could be transmitted by sharing a drinking glass, touching a toilet seat, or swimming in the same pool with someone who is HIV positive. And this just goes to show that there is a lack of education on the condition, and we cannot fault the HIV positive individuals, for this ignorance of people in society. Furthermore, I should go on to say that healthcare is a big problem when it comes to discrimination of those with HIV. A lot of healthcare providers and maybe cosmetic providers, such as cosmetic surgeons, reject people living with HIV because they are fearful and they are uneducated about the particular condition. Fun fact here, according to the Journal of the International AIDS Society, they found that we could reduce stigma in healthcare at three different levels. First, they would look at it at the individual level. They would want to inform all healthcare providers and all people who are in the healthcare field of the disease and the condition and how it's transmitted or how it's contracted, etc. Then they will want to look at it at an environmental level. Do we have all the supplies? Do we have the resources? Can we practice all universal precautions, implementing the PEP, implementing different hazardous waste boxes, etc.? And then we'll look at it at the policy level, enforcing stern policies to help protect the individuals, because now we have policies here that are very unclear, that are very gray, but they're not really protecting the rights or the dignity and the humanity of those living with HIV. Furthermore, to say, ignorance reflects stigma. Ignorance reflects stigma. If you're being ignorant and you're uneducated, you're going to follow the stigma and have that fear of HIV. However, stigma drives discrimination, and discrimination is reflected upon ignorance. People living with HIV are not to be faulted for the condition and are not to be discriminated against, for they are educated and for they know the preventative actions to take to protect themselves and protect those around them. Discrimination against those living with HIV is just pure ignorance and the lack of education and knowledge in one's. Fear is what's driving this stigma, and we must change in order to be a better society as a whole.